Hello guys, my name is Nangchamboy Yoknyo, bearing roll number 23, MENG 31, from second year MA English, currently studying at Christo Jayanti College. And today we'll be learning about the poem The Railway Clerk by Nissim Ezekiel. Uh, so yeah, here we go. So a bit about the author. The author was born in 1924 and he died in 2004. He studied English literature at Wilson College, Bombay, and philosophy at Birkbeck College, London. He received the Sahitya Academy Award for Latter-day Saints in 1983 and the Padma Shri in 1988. His poems focus mainly on realistic themes on day-to-day life activities such as human sexuality, alienation and identity, difficulties of everyday life, especially in the city that he grew up in Mumbai. So the themes on this particular poem, The Railway Clerk, are alienation and loneliness, identity crisis, urban isolation, and class and social inequality. Also, the symbolic imagery are the railway and the city, which will come back later after we finish with the poem. So the poem, so here it is. He says in the first few lines, he says, "It isn't my fault. Uh, I do what I'm told, but still I am blamed." Here, the poet, the speaker, who is the railway clerk, is trying to justify whatever that he did, maybe a mistake or maybe an unfortunate accident, that it wasn't his fault. He was just doing what he was told, maybe by his superiors or maybe by some other office workers, but he was still to blame. He said, "This year my leave application was twice refused." This implies that the other workers or maybe his office boss or his superiors doesn't really care about him, so they just neglect his leave application. Although the reason for his leave application was not um, included in the poem, we can uh, we can guess that it might be something important that even a clerk of his level would need a leave application. And he further complains that every day that there is so much work and I don't get overtime. He says like there is too much work because maybe other workers would dump all his work into him because as I said earlier, he was the lowest of the clerks in the railway office. He says, "My wife is always asking for more money. Money, money, where to get money?" Um, this particular line here is an depiction of Indian household because it's always the man who has to go out to work while the woman take care of the children and the family, and basically the woman is the caretaker and the man has to go out to work. My job is such, no one is giving bribe, while other clerks are in fortunate position and no promotion even because I am not graduate. He says in this last few lines of the first stanza, he says that his job, no one is giving a bribe to him because, as I mentioned earlier, it is the lowest of the low. So maybe he's just a clerk as like a letterman or someone who just delivers paperwork or someone who's basically useless and not as important as other people who would get bribes. And there is no promotion on his position because he's not even a graduate. So let's move on. See from this line from the graduate, there's a space, and it says, and here it says, "I wish I was bored," and then another space. This depicts that d during this line, the poem, we can say that the poem's mind it flew somewhere else, and then he was thinking of neglecting his responsibilities. That he would just be a bird and then would just fly away, and then immediately after a space here, he comes back to reality. He says that I am never neglecting my responsibilities. I am discharging it properly. I am doing my duty, but who is appreciating? Nobody. I am telling you. He says, he continues to say that he's never neglecting his responsibilities, even though there is so much work for him to do. He would never carelessly leave them around. He will always finish whatever work that he would get. But as a man, sometimes he would want a bit of appreciation from his co-workers, maybe, or maybe from his boss, or maybe from his uh, family, especially. So he's saying no, and but who is appreciating? And this can give a lot of meanings to maybe his even to his family, even to his friends, or maybe everyone else, because it's like it's like he's facing an existential crisis when his existence doesn't really matter to anyone. He further says that my desk is too small. The fan is not repaired for 2 months, 3 months. I am living off in Borivali. My children are neglecting studies. How long can this go on? So in this particular stanza, he complains about his desk being too small. Maybe his office is too crowded, and they're just giving him a bit of space because like I said earlier, he doesn't really matter to the other workers. And then his fan was ignored. It was not repaired for 2 months, 3 months. He said he's living off in Borivali, that's a west suburb in Mumbai, and my children are neglecting duties, he said. And this is an obvious fact. When a father cannot provide well for the family, the children, especially in slum cities, in really huge cities, they would always neglect studies. They would always live on the streets. They would go out in the streets. They would beg. They would do like live the life of a street kid. So this can depict the fact that his children have been neglectful of him because he doesn't really look well after them, just because he's just a clerk, he doesn't earn that much. So, and then he continues to say, once a week I see film, and then I am happy but not otherwise. See, fun fact about Nissim Ezekiel, Ezekiel has mastered the art of using Babu English, or Indian, on how common Indians use English, because he would make some simple grammatical mistakes, just how Indians, how they use language. See, instead of film, he spelled it as film. And then also there are a lot of past participle mistakes, and then grammar tense. And this is just his way of like depicting how a railway clerk should be, how his English should be, because he's just a common railway clerk. He's not that educated. He doesn't even have a graduate uh, degree. So he says, once a week I see film, and then I am happy, but not otherwise. Once a week he would watch a movie, he would go to the cinema, and then he would feel happy, like something would fill his heart, the void in his heart, but not that much. And he said, also, I have good friends. That is only consolation. He proceeds that he has pretty good friends, but they're nothing more than just consolation to him. Just like they have he when he would say something to them, he would just get a pat on his back saying things would be okay. Sometimes we are meeting here and there and having long chat. This depicts that the long chat and here and there, and sometimes depicts that they don't really meet that often with each other, maybe once a week or maybe once a month, and then they would have super long conversations about everything, and we can see what they would talk about. We're discussing countries' problems. Some are thinking of foreign. He said they would talk about the country's problems, maybe political, economical, or maybe even foreign, like border issues like Pakistan and India, for etc. And he continues to say, but due to circumstances, I cannot think. My wife's mother is confined to bed, and I am only support. He said, but due to for some reasons, he cannot think because his mind is filled with everything, the hardships that he faces every day. Uh, from being ignored, from being blamed, from being neglectful by his children, his wife asking for more money, and now his mother-in-law is confined to bed, and he's the only one to financially support everyone. So he doesn't actually have the ability to think. He's just uh, he's just living without actually being alive. So let's get back to the symbolic imagery here. The symbolic imagery. So the railway is a symbol of the clerk's life, because a railway doesn't actually have a destination. You just go on left, right, straight, and then it doesn't really reach anywhere. Same as the clerk, he just wakes up every day, and then he would get blamed. He would go through all those hardships and everything without actually having aims and goals in life. And the city and the city is you know the saying, you can only feel lonely when there are people around, when there are people when there you can only feel lonely when there are people surrounding you. So here in this city, it's Mumbai, it's really huge, and then the Clerk is just a small portion of Mumbai. And then there would be he would feel a lot of loneliness because he would get ignored. He would not feel like his existence doesn't uh really matter. So yeah, that's it about the railway clerk. So thank you. Have a nice day.